Hey guys, welcome back to Favorite Iron and Customs. I'm Michael. Today we're having a little bit of a forge side chat while I'm out here making a few knives. I have a customer, the same one that I made the last knife for, that has asked me to make a few more knives for him. I started recording this video a couple of weeks ago and hadn't had time to get back to it, so I'm just starting over. It's just going to be a chat really, and the knife making is going to be in the background. Okay, so I got the forge lit, and what I'm working on is I need to make the customer, he wants a knife that's for bleeding out the pig. If you want to, look that up. I'm not going to go into the discussion on that. And I need to make two knives for him that'll be better cutting knives than the ones that I made him before. And I'm going to just use that same piece of leaf spring that I made the other knife out of. I thought about, I do have some 5160, but it's not really going to be any more or less work to use than what I already have. So I'm going to go ahead and get this piece of steel in the fire and get it getting hot, and we'll start making those two blades. And while that's getting hot, we're going to talk about some things coming up. I want to try to get this done. It's a Tanto, probably a little too long to be a Tanto actually, more and a little short to be a Wakaza. Maybe saying that wrong, but I need to finish this knife. I got to clean it back up. It's just been out here hanging out in the shop. I've made this for my wife a couple of years ago and haven't finished it yet. So I'm going to finish making the handle for this and clean it up and get it sharp and make the sheath for it. And I'm not sure what the Japanese word for the actual sheath is, but we'll get into that later. I started making this. I was going to build this guitar while I was on vacation this year, and did not get, because of working on the boat, I did not get a chance to get any further along than this. You just get this laminated, so there'll be a video about this later. It's going to be a based on a Gretsch Jupiter Thunderbird, except for it's going to be a 5-string bass. So we got this coming. It's going to have PB Foundation pickups in it. So got that. Now I've got this knife that I need to finish. It's the first kukri that I made. It's pretty cool. I ordered the scales to make this out of and didn't pay attention to the thickness, and they're actually 1/8 inch rather than the steel's burning. Those yep. Alright. Leave it right there and let it stay warm. That the scales I ordered were G10 scales that were red and black, and they were 1/8 inch rather than 1/4. So I'm gonna have to do something else. I thought about doing a couple of different things. So that, that's on my mind, what I'm going to do about the scale still. Let's see. And I did not leave the hammer out. So we're just going to, like I said, we're making a couple of cut knives. The knife that I made him before is working out like he wants it. It's just he wants a couple of blades to do cutting with, and that one to actually do the bleeding with. And I'm going to get a heavier hammer because that 2-pounder ain't heavy enough. I'll get into this in a few minutes. Alright guys, I had a question asked when I first started doing my forging videos. how long had I been doing forging? How did I get into doing forging? I think it's been somewhere between 5 or 6 years, and I'm just, you know, doing kind of what makes me happy. Hanging out, you know, learning how to move metal, because doing metal working and welding and such as that has always been kind of a passion of mine. I've never had a job where that has been in my job description. You know, I've never been employed as a welder. I've never been employed as a body man. I've never been employed as a fabricator or anything like that. All of that is just hobby. Everything I'm doing on my channel is a hobby. So I've been doing blacksmithing for 5 or 6 years. Originally, I wanted to get into doing blacksmith work many years ago, back in my 20s, and the information wasn't there or wasn't as readily available as it is now. So a few years ago, I was playing the video game Skyrim, which is one of the Elder Scrolls games, and part of what you do is forging in there, blacksmith work, and you know, kind of re-sparked my interest in blacksmithing. And at the same time, Alec Steele was just getting big on his YouTube channel. So I learned a lot from watching Alec. Learned a lot from, I watched a lot of Chandler Dickinson. I know a lot of people that don't necessarily like Chandler. A lot of people do. So that's kind of how I got into it. I didn't even know there was a Forged in Fire show until after I had already started making knives. So, and I don't have any interest in being on Forged in Fire, even if I had a lot more practice at doing this. Like I said, I just do this for fun. It's one of my hobbies, and that's about the best answer I have for that one. All right, guys, so we're taking another heat, and it looks like I'm gonna have to delete something off the card on the camera. So I've kind of been, my background is I started out in around 94 working for GM at a Cadillac dealership. I worked at a Cadillac dealership, Ford dealership. I worked at an independent shop for several years. And back at the Cadillac dealership before I went to working on industrial lift trucks for a living. And I've been doing that for, come this May, it'll be 17 years. I've been working on industrial lift trucks, electric, gas, you name it. The company I work for now is into working on bigger stuff, more stuff outside, like Mopiets and big diesel trucks and stuff like that. So that's what I do for a living. Ooh, drop the tongs. And all I'm doing now is taking what steel I have and making it thinner and longer. And I think I explained this in my other, I'm using I rounded just a cobalt hammer. I rounded it, and that helps to move the metal faster. Alright, let me delete some of this stuff off the camera. It's starting to get cold. It's going to go back in the fire. Alright guys, I just walked in the house and got a little hydration. I thought it was going to be cool enough today that I wouldn't have to open the door of the shop, but here I am sweating and in shorts, and it's October. Gotta love this North Carolina weather. was I going to get to? For anybody that wonders what it's like to do this, it's a very hot job, especially in the summertime. I don't do much forging at all in the summertime. If I do, it's after dark. My neighbors love me. Of course, my closest neighbor is a quarter mile down the road, so and then I don't have any neighbors in any other direction for quite some time. Maybe across the field, maybe closer, but really I don't have a lot of neighbors. I like it like that. I like living out in the country where we can kind of rip, roar, and raise hell, and do whatever you want to do, basically. So anyway, that's all about all of that. I'm gonna grab a couple more heats and see if I can't get this thing looking like a knife, and I'll come back. Alright guys, next question. How did I get into building cars? When I was a kid, I built models. Kind of enjoyed classic cars. I think it was sometime around, honestly, yeah, it was the movie Cobra with Sylvester Stallone, where they had a 50 Merc, and I fell in love with customs. I love a hot rod. I'd love to have a Model A one day. Don't know if that'll ever happen. I've got plenty of cars and things to do around here, so maybe. But yeah, from Cobra I learned to love customs, and of course, American Graffiti. One of the cars in there was a Merc, a chopped Merc, and I like the Merc. But I like the. I would have a Merc. It's no big, like a 49, 50 Merc, absolutely. But I like the 50 shoebox better because of the grill. I just love the grill in the 50 shoebox. I see people customize and take the bullet out and do different things, or put a 51 grill or a Merc grill or something at a Ford, and your car do your thing, but to me, I just love the grill in a 50 shoebox. I love a chopped 50 shoebox, and that's it. I had the 63 Chevrolet when I was a kid. It's been being redone for the last 20 years. At some point when I get far enough on this, far enough on the Volkswagen, it's going to come back in the shop and we're going to get it done. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into cars. Alright guys, I'm letting the fire catch back up. I had a big clinker in the bottom. See if I can get this thing. Oh, it broke up. And it just about killed the fire when I pulled it out. Also, I pulled the bottom screen out that keeps all the ash from falling down, or these small lumps of coal from falling down. So I may have to break this fire down and start it over and get the screen back in the bottom of my fire pot. Anyway, so far as the Volkswagen goes, how did I get into doing the Volkswagen? Again, we go back to a video game. I was playing a video game that has Jack Black in it called Brutal Legend. If you're into heavy metal, that's got an awesome soundtrack. And he kind of drove around this hot rod the whole time, and I was like, man, I really want a hot rod. I really want a hot rod. And it just during the night, one night, I was like, what would make a cool hot rod would be a Volkswagen. Well, come to find out, there were people already hot rodding Volkswagens, and they call them Volks rods. So I found a website called volksrods.com, the Volksrodders Forum, cut, weld, and drive, and that's how I got into building the Volks rod. My intention was to stay air cooled with it, but at the time I drove it, and the 4-cylinder engine just wasn't doing it for me. So we went to front engine drive, like a more traditional hot rod, and I really like the way it turned out. So far, I've got a lot of work to do to it. yet, but I really like how it's turning out. I feel like it's going to be a pretty cool ride when I get done with it. I know there's a lot of you guys that want to see it running, and like I said, that's how we did that. Well, that's how I got into Volkswagen. I'll try to leave a link to in the description. There have all the pictures from when I first started building that car, where I did the cut, the chop top. I think I don't have any pictures of actually sectioning it, but there's a lot of pictures from when I did the chop on it. There's a huge section in there on how to, you know, do cut and butt and stuff long before, you know, YouTube, long before, you know, I found Fitzy's Fabrication or Bad Chad or anybody like that is, you know, building custom cars. And, you know, Fitzy's, you know, mostly restoring cars, but building custom cars too. But there was a lot of good information on there before that information was on YouTube like it is now. So anyway, that was it on the Volkswagen. Alright guys, there's that first knife. I kind of messed up right here in this area, but that's something that the grinder will fix. I may show you all the knives when I get them done in a later video. That's probably all I'm going to have time for on this video today. Like I said, I'm going to try to get the other knife made out. I will show y'all what the blades turned out like in a future video, probably later on this week, maybe next Sunday's video or something like that. Like and subscribe, leave a comment down below. If you have any questions, you know, I may do these Ford side chats, or Ford side, as my buddy Gary over at Gary's Car Stuff says, Ford side chat. But you know, I may do one of these every once in a while. So if y'all have any questions, leave them down below. I'll do my best to answer them in the comments, and you know, I'll, you know, try to write them down, jot them down, and actually do a video, and you know, do a video where I'm leaving the answers. But like I said, like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later.